Hey friends, welcome back. I'm always excited to share with you. I hope that you are excited as well as we continue our series on living a life on purpose. What do you see when you look in the mirror? That's what we talked about the last time we were together. I want to revisit that for a little bit. Do you look in the mirror and is what you see positive or negative? You see, in leadership, the first person we must examine is ourselves. That is the mirror principle. If our self-perception is distorted, then our attempts to influence others will be misguided or even manipulative. I mean, who knew that self-worth affects leadership too? You have to see value in yourself if you are going to add value to other people and to yourself. How you see yourself actually determines not only your potential, but how others see you and how you see other people. How you see yourself determines the lid on your own potential. There's power in that. You see, your self-image will place a cap on your ability to lead, to influence and impact others, and ultimately, your level of success. Remember the last time we were together, I asked you to pick a number on a scale of 1 to 10. So if you see yourself with an average self-worth of 5, well then the lid or the maximum potential and the most you can accomplish is limited to that of a level 5. In other words, you cannot accomplish more than what your self-worth allows you to accomplish. This concept reminds me of the law of the lid in John Maxwell's 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. We may revisit that in the future. With an average self-worth, the odds are that you will grow into an average person and you will accomplish average things. Now, there's nothing wrong with average necessarily, but God created you for a purpose, and your true potential is far greater than a 5. I'm sure of it. But you know what? It doesn't matter because we don't succeed according to our potential. Instead, we succeed according to our self-worth. This is the takeaway I want you to remember. You see, when people look in the mirror, they don't look at themselves in terms of what they can be. They look at themselves in terms of who they are in the present. In other words, you can't accomplish more than what your self-worth will allow you to accomplish. Listen, average is not okay. That's that A word we talk about that's not allowed. Remember the last time we were together, I shared with you Genesis 1:26, the reminder that we were made in the image of God. Nothing about that is average. Psalm 139:14 reminds us, it says, I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. You see, often what you see in the mirror is the compass bearing that you will follow. In other words, what you see is the direction you'll go. When I go outside with my dogs and I act like I have a bone in my hand and I throw it really far across the yard, I don't really throw it, I'm pretending, the dogs take off and they go to the neighbor's yard. But if they see the bone and I just throw it a few feet, guess what? They stop just a few feet. It's a similar concept. We will stop at the number that we've given ourselves. But here's the good news. Regardless of where your self-image is, you can raise it. I want you to grasp these 3 concepts. Number 1, and I shared this part with you the last time we were together, it's impossible to consistently behave in a manner that is inconsistent in the way we see ourselves. Again, your self-image regulates what you accomplish and what you try to accomplish. I know I mentioned that before, but it's worth repeating. Again, if you see yourself as a 5, you might try to accomplish things at a 7 or an 8 level, but you'll remind yourself that you're a 5 and that you can't do higher things. So you'll revert back to doing things at a level 5, which is comfortable for you. Isn't that crazy that how we see ourselves is actually how we perform? I also shared with you the last time we were together, it's impossible to consistently behave in a manner inconsistent with how we see ourselves. You see, we can do very few things in a positive way if we feel negative about who we are. Number 2, How we see ourselves also determines how much we will invest in ourselves. Goes back to self-image once more. That determines how much you're willing to invest in who you are and who you're becoming. So if you look in the mirror, you see yourself as a 3. The maximum self-investment that you'll make is that of a 3. So it's a pretty safe to say that you're not going to hire me as a personal coach if you think you're only worth a 3. You can't do it. You can't invest at a higher level because that's the lid you put on yourself. I mean, how much are you willing to invest in you? You're worth it. Your self-image will determine the size of your self-investment. So the higher the self-image, the better, the higher the investment. The lower the self-image, again, the lower the investment. Another example would be going back to school, whether that's earning a degree online or in person. Maybe it's making a goal to promote within the company. Again, a 3 self-image will say, I can't do that. That's greater than me. Number 3, our belief in ourselves will influence the belief that other people have in us. How you see yourself determines how others see you. How you believe in yourself determines how much other people believe in you. Furthermore, how I see myself, how you see yourself, is also how you see others. Wow! Think about this. There's such power in this. In other words, if I don't believe in me, it will be very difficult for me to believe in you. If I see myself as a 5, I'll see you as a 5. We see others not as they really are. We see others as we see ourselves. This is important because if you sell yourself short, you're not only going to shortcut your own personal growth and opportunities, but you'll also shortcut the growth of the people around you. When you sell yourself short, you sell others short too. In order to see others at a higher level, you have to be able to see yourself at a higher level too. And seeing yourself at a higher level requires that you have a higher belief in yourself. This belief must be accompanied with action to raise your self-image. Listen, if you've got kids, if you've got grandkids even, if anyone is looking up to you, and I know someone is, teach them the power of having a good self-image. Here's 3 simple ways that you can begin to learn how to improve your self-image. The first one is this, and I know I've shared this with you before: guard that self-talk. Be very protective of what you say to yourself. I mean, the most important person who talks to you all day is you. The most important conversation you're going to have in life is not your friend, it's not your spouse. It's the conversation you have between your own ears. So to improve your self-image, you must have only empowering, positive, uplifting self-talk. Talk nice to yourself. Sometimes we're so hard on ourselves, aren't we? We've all heard the saying, as a man thinketh, so he becomes. I'm going to tweak that to say, as you talk, so you become. You know, I picked on the dads a little bit in our last training, so I have a few words for the moms this time around. Guard that self-talk for the sake of your kids, especially your daughters. If they hear mom say, gosh, I'm fat, or I don't like something I see in the mirror, they will begin to say what they hear you say. So for example, if you want to lose some weight, instead of saying, I'm fat, look how fat these jeans make me, why don't you instead say, you know what, I want to become healthier. And by the way, you could ask your daughter to join you. There's a big difference in the 2 statements. And then number 2, each day intentionally decide that you're going to add value to people. When you intentionally add value to other people, you begin to feel a sense of significance. You see, success is all about you. Significance, on the other hand, is about focusing on other people. It's when you begin to add value to the lives of others that you begin to live beyond yourself. This is when you feel this sense of fulfillment in your life. I mean, once you've had a taste of significance, success will never satisfy you. That is a fact. The greatest way to give yourself significance is to pour yourself into other people. Add value to them on a continual basis. Everything begins to change about how you feel about who you are and even what you're doing once you begin to live a significant life by serving others. You know, my grandmother used to tell me, in spite of the fact that she didn't have much growing up, that she really never worried about whether she would have enough to eat or clothes for her children to wear because she was so busy serving and giving to others. What a great lesson. And number 3, the last thing is this: just do the right thing every day. This seems simple, but when you do the right thing, action or motion is a precursor to emotions. You see, when I do what's right every day, I feel good about myself. If I do the wrong thing, well, I feel bad about what I've done. So when people want to lift their self-image, do the right thing every single day. Character matters, and integrity still matters. People are never able to outperform their self-image, remember? Self-image, if you're not pleased with what you see, change it. Remember, it's all about you talking to yourself. In Romans 12:2, Paul reminds us of this: do not be conformed to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is good, what is his good, pleasing, and perfect will. So take emotions out of it, determine your direction. It is, in fact, a constant conversation in your mind, and think about what that sounds like, what that needs to sound like. Is your conversation critical? Is it negative? Is it positive? Is it encouraging? Don't talk to yourself in a negative way or have a discouraging conversation with yourself. And you know what? Every time you do even small things right, clap your hands, wave the flag, give yourself the encouragement that you deserve. You are worth it. And don't forget, talk to yourself in a positive way. When things don't go right, understand that you can learn and grow from a mistake, own the failure, and just be better for it. Don't bring up the past and relive it every day. That is a load way too heavy to carry. Keep moving forward. A positive self-image will allow you to consistently improve and progress both personally and professionally. You know, the negative self-image will again put a lid on everything you do. So don't forget, have those great conversations with yourself. You know, your well-being depends on it. I want to wrap up sharing with you a quick story about a sweet friend that I made during one of my Bible studies a few years back. Her name is Amanda. Amanda was a widow, and she was only in her 40s, and she did not have a very good self-image of herself. I had the opportunity to get to know her better in our Bible study time, and I learned that she drove a school bus for our school system during the day, and then at night, because she needed extra money, she drove a taxi. Now, this was before Uber was around. She drove a yellow taxi, and I was worried sick about Amanda. I was always afraid that something was going to happen to her at night, a woman by herself. But she worked 2 jobs and did whatever she could to make ends meet. And the reality is that it was evident to me she didn't see a big number when she looked in the mirror. And I asked her one day, what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? She said, I would love to be a nurse. I would love to be a nurse. I said, well, why are you not going to be a nurse? She said, well, I don't have a degree. I can't do that. I don't have the right education. And so then after spending some time with Amanda, she decided that she would start going to school part-time. And she was able to drop her taxi cab job at night, which again scared me to death. And she began to invest in herself. She graduated with honors. and she went on to be a nurse. In fact, I jotted down a couple of items that she shared with me. She ended up graduating nursing school, which is no easy feat, with a 4.0 GPA. She was chosen as a member of the Alpha Beta Kappa Honor Society. Out of 383 students, only 5 were selected, and Amanda was one of those. I want to fight back the tears just thinking about her. On top of her graduation hat, this is what she wrote. I want to inspire people. I want someone to look at me and say, because of you, I didn't give up. There is power in our self-image. Believe that you can do whatever it is that is in front of you facing the day and increase that number. You are so worth it. Thank you again for your time. I look forward to spending time with you next time.